Because we find in this week's parsha, in today's Chittas, it's written that Eliezer ben Aram is coming back from his shlichus, he's coming back, and the whole thing. It's written that Yitzchak Avinu was coming up from Be'er L'Chai Roi, whole place, and Rashi says that he went down there to get a wife for his father, Avram. He brought Hagar back to Avram, that Avram remarried her. It's written at the end of the parsha. Immediately after that, it's written, Vayetze Yitzchak lasuach v'sadeh. Yitzchak went out to talk literally in the field. So it comes along Rashi, and Rashi says, what does it mean to talk in the field? So Rashi says, Ein tzicha ela tefillah. A tzicha means tefillah. So what was Yitzchak doing, going out in the field and walking amongst the trees out there? What was he doing? He was going out there in order to daven. And some of them are forcing word, that since he'd come from doing such a mitzvah for his father, that he bought a wife for his father, and he knew that Eliezer had gone on a shlichus for him, but he didn't know what was happening, and he went out to pray, as it were, to see that everything should be okay. Next thing is he sees the Gemara are coming. That's like it's written that before you will even call, I will answer you. Wow. That he got the answer to his prayer even before he called. However, it's very fascinating that that's written in the Bereshis Rabbah. That's written in the Medrash that Yitzchak went out to daven. That's all. He just went out to daven in the field. And how do we know? Because it says that Sicho means tefillah. Shenema tefillah la'oni ki yatu v'lifnei Hashem yishpoich sichoi, that a poor man, when he's feeling down, he pours his heart out to the Eibishter. That's daven. That's even from daven. So the Sicha is the same word in both places. Assuming that Yitzchak also went to daven. Now, it's a very interesting thing that Rashi brings the Medrash Rabbah, and the same thing is written in the Gemara in Masechta Brachos. And the Gemara in Masechta Brachos says even more that Yitzchak went out, and Yitzchak was metakein for all the generations to come Tfilas HaMincha. And he went out Lifnois Erev, and Lifnois Erev means in the late afternoon, and he davened. With that he was metakein, he had in mind to fix Tfilas HaMincha L'Kol HaDoros. So why didn't Rashi bring that? Why, what's wrong with that? Why does Rashi just say, no, he just went out to daven? That's all. He doesn't even say what about. And the Gemara says that he went out to fix Tfilas HaMincha, L'Kol HaDoros. And he did it in the late afternoon, but that's Tfilas HaMincha. So if you go out to fix it for all the doros, then that's a sign that you must have been accustomed to doing that. You didn't just all of a sudden go out and fix it for all the doros. And the Gemara brings out Ram Avinu, he fixed for all the doros Shachris, and Yaakov Avinu fixed for all the doros Arvin. So then the Gemara brings a brisa to support that opinion. That's Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Chanina. The Brisa gives a brisa, and then the Gemara brings another opinion, that the tefillahs were fixed by the Rabbanan in connection with the Korbanos. Another opinion, and he's also got a brisa. He also brings a brisa that supports him, so we're sort of left, with two brisas and not clear, two opinions that each one's got to prove. How do we go? What do we do in such a matter? So it comes along the Mar-Heshvan over there, and the Mar-Heshvan says that even the first opinion, that the always fixed us, the three tefillahs, we still accept the other opinion. Because we daven Musaf. A Musaf can only have to do with Korbanos. Musaf is a sign that both of them don't disagree one with the other. They just one built further on the other. Which means that way back in the time of the Oves, they were Mechadish, the Inyaf and davening. And the Gemara says they fixed it for all the doros. Rashi in the Chumash says that they davened. Yitzchak went out in the field to daven. Now there's a very amazing Rambam in Hilchos Malachim in Perek Bol. In Hilchos Malachim, there the Rambam brings how all the mitzvahs were given to whom. First of all, Adam Rishon got 6 mitzvahs, Sheva mitzvahs, but they know 6 of them. Then Noah got one. Then Avram got one. And after that he says, Avram got the Milah. And then he writes, Avram, he's Palil Tfilah Shacharit. The Rambam says, Avram davened Tfilah Shacharit. He doesn't say that he fixed Tfilah Shacharit. He just said he davened. He davened. Then he said, Yitzchak fixed the Meiser, and then he said, who is Palil Tfilas Mincha? Doesn't say he fixed it, he just said he davened. He davened Tfilas Mincha. So the Meforshim mean that he's basing himself on the Gemara and Brachas, but the Gemara says that Yisrael fixed it. He didn't just daven. What's if he davened? So I came up with a theory, and what I want to tell you guys an idea. What's the theory? My theory is like this. That if we look at the early generations, that they fell into Avodah Zarah. The Rambam writes in the beginning of Hilchos Avodah Zarah that the Dor Shel Enosh, they began to fall into Avodah Zarah. And he said, how come they did that? How come they fell into Avodah Zarah? Because they believed that the Eibishter, he was the Balabas HaKloli. But they believed that there were other things like the stars and the moon and the sun also have the ability to give something. They can also give certain things. The Abish is the big giver, and they're like smaller givers. And they thought that if you're getting good with these givers, then they'll give you the whole time and they'll give you in a good way. So they thought that maybe we have to be good with the sun, with the moon, and with the stars. We have to get in good with them, because they also give. Well, after a while, says the Rambam, they forgot about the Eivishter, and they just got stuck with these. That's how it began Avodah Zarah. So what's the basis of that? The basis of that is that they saw that your connection with a higher being is only to ask for what you need. And remember, if your connection with the higher being is only to ask for what you need, then eventually you fall into not good hands. And the Rebbe said, once there's a Sikha from the Rebbe said the word in English for tefillah is prayer. And the Rebbe said very correctly that the word prayer means to request. And the word pray in English means to request. I beg you and I request you, and therefore in the Old English, in Lahavdil, in Shakespeare, and Lahavdil, $1 billion, they use the expression, I pray you. What does that mean? I ask you to give me something. And remember, the whole meaning from prayer, as far as they're concerned, is asking. If you get, good for you. If you don't get, then you go to the right one who'll give you. Oh, you forgot about the Balabas HaKloli? That's too bad. That's unfortunate. And remember, if you base yourself, your whole connection with the higher being is only what you call request for yourself, then you fall into not good. You fall into not good practice. Came along the Ovis, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. The first prayer, if you look at the pasuk that the Gemara brings, the Brisa brings for Avram Avinu, that was when Avram Avinu prayed for Sdom. And with praying for Sdom, he fixed Tefillah Shach. When he prayed for Sdom, he didn't pray for himself. He prayed for all these crazy guys in Sdom. So, according to the Zohar, he didn't pray enough. He should have prayed for everybody, not just for 10 or 15 or 40. All right, but Avram Avinu broadened the whole idea, and you have to pray for everybody. You don't just pray for yourself. Prayer is an Indian way you pray for everything that's happening. The Alter Rebbe brings in Torah, the Alter Rebbe said, Lifnois Erev, that Yitzchak wanted to drive away the darkness. Lifnois means lefanot. Lefanot is like to sweep away. So Yitzchak went out to sweep away the darkness. He wanted to get rid of the darkness out of the world. How do you do that? You daven. You turn to the Abishter and say, listen, Abishter, the world is not good. We're going to make the world a better place. It's your world. It's not our world. You've got to do something. Well, we see that they always introduced a whole new Indian into the world. And that's what he called it. That's called tefillah. Tefillah is that you pray in order to get the Abishter to do what should be done. Not what you want. And Derahagam, you make a kesher with him. You become bound up to him. And you form a whole new lifestyle that's based on davening. Tefillah. Until you daven for hours, hopefully. And until, if you're a Chabadske, you're still davening at 2 o'clock in the afternoon when everybody's already eating lunch. Or already had their lunch. And they're having their afternoon shlaf, you are still davening. What are you doing out there? Because Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov said that tefillah is that you make a kesher with the Abishter. If you got anything to ask, then, between the lines, you ask it. So why that? Just tell somebody to ask. No. So after you form a kesher and you deepen your relationship with Hashem, then you know what to ask. Then you know how to ask, and you know what to ask. And maybe you don't even ask B'klal. Or if you do, you know what way to ask. Remember, that's the Ovid. And therefore the Rambam says that Avram is palil tefillah shachri. He didn't fix anything. He just davened. And that became a way for all his children. Ad sof kol aderes, that's the way. You got to daven. You got to be part of Elikud. You got to hack yourself around in Elikud. And that's what they always, they changed the whole history. It's no longer prayer. It's tefillah. And tefillah means that you stick on to the Abishter. A teifel kli cheres, it means that if two pieces are not together and you glue them together, that's called a teifel kli cheres. If a kli cheres has been broken, you stick back the pieces, that's called a teifel kli cheres. The tefillah means you stick yourself on. That it could become, you become nidbak in Elikud. That's daven. Doesn't feel it. And that he always revealed to us. He always said that you don't just ask for what you need. And then the Gemara in Avodah Zarah, there's a Gemara which says that if you want to ask something, the difference of opinion whether you should ask at the beginning or at the end. What end of what? End of what? Just to ask. Now you got to pray. You got to talk about the greatness of the Gemara. You got to talk about the greatness. You got to this and you got to that, and you also got a request. So as a machlokes, whether you should put the request at the beginning or you should put it at the end. That's a Gemara in Avodah Zarah. So we see from that, all right, you have a request of a Yiddish davening, says that you got to appreciate the greatness of the Abishter. Then you ask your request, whatever it may be. Well, Father, if he said that davening is another idea altogether. Avram is palel. The Rambam is learned. He didn't just fix anything, Avram. He davened. And that is itself the way to fix it. That fixed the prayer. Then later on came the Rabbanim, and they made it short to the Korbanos, and they fixed times. I don't know how much the Korbanos really keep the times, but nonetheless they fixed times. There's Mount Tefillah, there's Mount Krishba. Anyway, that's the way it is. You walk into 770 at 4 in the afternoon, you got guys saying shit to Zimra, They hold according to Rabbi Yochanan. And Rabbi Yochanan says in the Gemara, Halavai she is palal or odom kol hayom kulum. Anyway, that's the Indian davening. And that's Yiddish tefillah. Tefillah means you become stuck on to Elikud. That's Tomchei Tmim. The Rebbe said when he founded Tomchei Tmim, he said one of the whole Ike Kavanas in the founding of Tomchei Tmim is to teach the Bochrim how to daven. Teach the Bochrim how to daven. But teach a person how to daven, but doesn't know how to daven. If davening is just to ask the Abishter what you need, well, you need to teach him. He needs to be taught how to daven. What's it done? You have to teach a person how to daven. You got to know how to prepare yourself. You got to know how to appreciate Hashem. It goes in different levels and different eifani. Then, if you got something to ask, well, then you ask in a different way. You don't see anything to it. However, there's another amazing phenomenon, and that is that most of the Maimorim, which have to do with Simcha in Chassidus, the Bavit, are based on Pasha Chai Sorek. Look it up and you'll find it. If you think I'm going crazy, I didn't. Look it up and you'll find that all the Ikea Maimorim which talk about Ivdu as Hashem B'Simcha are Pasha Chai Sorek. In Tzadik Tes and all over the place. And by the Rebbe Rashav, he got several of them. And he got the second last year of his time in this world, the Rebbe in Ayin Tes, there's a big mime, Chai Sorek, Ivdu as Hashem B'Simcha. There's a simon that ain't no chanami, you got to daven, or you know, you can't be a Mar-Heshvan, you know, you got to daven, B'Simcha. And I remember just after I came to Kwachabad, I went up into the Zal. This was before I worked in Tom Hechman. I went up into the Zal, and I'm davening, I think I'm davening, and it came into me a Shia, and he said, what's the matter? He said, dein davening is Mar-Heshvan. He said, your davening is depression. And I said, what? I couldn't talk about it. He said, das ist ein Freilich. Das ist davening Simcha dik. He said, but das ist Freilich. I mean, you can't stay in front of the Rebbe. If you can stand in front of it, das ist ein Freilich. What's that? He said, you're Mar-Heshvan. So when a Chassidus came up to me in the Zal, in Tom Hechman. One of the first things I learned when I got to Kwachabad. You have to daven B'Simcha. The once upon a time Chassidim used to daven Freilich. With the tell us over the head of it was fake. Just the head. And remember, that's the Indian, that's the message of Pasha Chai Sorah. And the Rebbe Hashem brings in that Maimon that Sorah Imenu was matakin the Chet Eitz Hadas. She was the Amazon one who was matakin the Chet Eitz Hadas Alidei Simcha. And it's very, very interesting, and we don't find by Sorah Imenu it's written that she was always B'Simcha. Although it's right, the Rebbe Hashem, he said that Simcha Amitis Hoyasa Eitel Sorah Imenu. As I said, yeah. And he said, Davki she was matakin the Chet Eitz Hadas. And he said, Noach tried, but Noach fell into Simcha on wine. And he got shikah, he said he didn't make it. Noach. He didn't be matakin the Chet Eitz Hadas because he wanted to do it through wine, but the wine was a bit too strong for him.
That was before Chabad.
Shikah and Zach is nicht der Derech. Shikah and Zach is not the Derech. The saying of Chaim, yeah, but not Shikah. But Mamela, no, it didn't quite make it. Not that I mean anything, God forbid, against Chaim. He didn't quite make it. Came Sorah, man, with Simcha, she was mataken the Chet Eitz Hadas. That's it. So, Amen, the Gezak. Amen, das ein Sameach.
Amazing thing.
Das ein Sameach. There's reasons maybe not to be Sameach. Don't worry about it. Yeah. That's what we saw in the moment tonight that we learned that the Eibishter runs the world. He'll fix it up. Exactly how? You'll fix it up, leave it up to you. Yeah, it's like the Baal Choyev looks at his person that he owes the money to and says, I'm fed up of worrying about it. He said, you worry. You worry. Well, the same thing we look at the Eibishter and we say to him, you worry. You take care of the whole show. That's the Indian, that's ein Freilich. That's ein, and go B'Simcha. How do the present day Mevtoinikis, how do they say, B'Simcha Naviya Tagoel, how does it written there? B'Simcha U'Ba'avas Yisrael Naviya Tagoel. Bring a Moshiach. Yeah, the way to Mashiach is simple. Yeah, the Rebbe used to, man, simple, you know. It's very hard to describe. Somebody who didn't see it before. Somebody is nicht gewinnt that there was no Mar-Heshvan by the Rebbe. He couldn't take it. It was super serious. Moshiach, Gula Shleima. That's the end. We have to Be'ez Hashem from Kof Mar-Heshvan. We have to go into the Emes L'mayla Mitam V'das Kesser, or we have to be frail. The way to Kesser is simple. You'll never get there if you're dragging along with Tadikel with a long face. You'll never make it. Only the simple. There's an amazing Zoya in Pasha Ki Tetzaveh, where it's written that if you have a long face, they look at you from heaven with a long face. If you have a long face, they look at you from heaven with a long face. If you have a happy face, then they look at you from heaven with a happy face. And Mefurish Zoya. It's in Pasha Tetzaveh, Nidmele, it's Omen Kuf Pei Dalet. That's it. It's amazing, amazing Zohar. And we have to be frail. It has to be the meaning, simple. And it has to be, either there's reasons not to be frail, forget about it. So put it away, and it will find its own solution. We learned tonight that everything is in the Eivishter's hand, except your decision. Your decision, that's in your hands. But all the rest is in the Eivishter's hand. So now leave it up to him. Chaim, no, Zav. Chaim. And you're a Kohen, remember, you have to have the Emes Taina that you want to serve in the Beis HaMikdash. Yeah, taking me out, man.
Amen.
No, Rothschild, how many times you said L'chaim over there? Eh? Chaim. Listen all the time.
Chaim, we got.